Good evening and welcome to another episode of My Fiber Fun. I'm on today because we're getting ready to do a tutorial-fied crochet along. I guess that's what you want to call it. But before we get to that, as you all know, preliminaries. First of all, I got to Michael's today and I picked up the glow yarn. I'll show you that in a minute. And also, I'm still working on my cousin's Afghan. I frogged it. I frogged the old one. I was doing 2 single crochet, skip a stitch, 2 single crochet, skip a stitch, size K hook, which is what this yarn called for. And to me, it was a little bit too thick and too heavy, and the yarn doesn't feel as soft as it actually is. So I went up to a size L hook, and this is a boy, B-O-Y-E. That's my preference. I don't like clover, and I don't like, can't stand Susan bait hooks. Ooh. But anyway, I like the boy hook. So anyway, this is a size L. And so I saw another tutorial last night, and I said, I think I'm going to switch it up. Actually, it's a single crochet, half double crochet, skip a stitch. Single crochet, half double crochet in the same space, skip a stitch, just like that double 2 single crochets. And this is the look that you get with that. I like this better. It's still nice and thick, but it's nice and soft. It's drapey. My cousin is going to love this. Okay? So that's preliminary number 1. The other preliminary, Jen and the others who said that you had people stationed in Japan. You know what? That table, Jen, I had told you when you mentioned that you think this table is Japanese, and I told you that I think so too. In fact, because of my cousin's late husband being stationed there, I decided, let me look at this table a little bit closer. And I did that last night, and actually the figures in the table, they're of Japanese women. They're not Chinese. I was like, wow. So then I was like, okay, so that starts my research all over again, because remember, in my research, it was called this type of table, which I saw plenty of, but they were all in black. They said that they're made in black. And because this one is hunter green, I was like, this is unusual. But I said, well, maybe he had it custom made or whatever, but I'm still thinking China. Okay, so in China, it is called a black lacquer oval coffee table set. That's the name of it. Saw the same, table, looks just the same. So that's what I thought it was. It can also be called, I found out, a nesting table. Because of the extra, those little stools, it's called a nesting table. So when I pulled up nesting table, more came up. So I was like, okay, let me keep researching here. So basically they were saying the same thing, but they did have more dollar amounts there, for what they're worth. They're still popular today, and they're still made in the same way, and they're very, very expensive if you buy one new. But the older they are, the more valuable they are, especially the ones, they started making them in the 50s during the mid-century modern era, and then they went on into whatever came next, and they're still making them today. And so anyway, the table, the older it is, the more valuable it is. That's the Chinese version. Okay, so Jen, when you said that you believe it's Japanese, and I told you, I kind of think so too. I took a closer look, and like I'm saying, the figures that I'm going to show you in just a second, they are actually Japanese. So then that started the research all over again. I'm like, okay, so let me pull up Japanese nesting table, Japanese oval, mother of pearl, table. Nothing has come up. Under nesting tables, some came up that were Japanese. It was like a big table, then you have a smaller table, then a smaller table, and a smaller. So it's all these tables together, and they fit, where you could put the tables, in a stack, so to speak, but they were different sizes, and then they got smaller to the stool size. That's what they considered nesting tables, and it made sense. They looked like they were nested together. That's all I saw. I didn't see anything like this. And I know there's a famous Japanese furniture maker. I forgot his name, Wakasuku or something like that. And I'm wondering if maybe my cousin came across him and got this table made, you know, special or something. I know I'm going to have to get an appraiser here, and I still haven't heard back from any of them. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to call Du Michel's. That's my next step in Detroit. And I'm just going to have to pay the money for them to come. But I want to see what I can find on my own. I've pulled it up on YouTube. I've looked online. I've Google-eyed it. All that. And every time I Google-eye it, which is when you take a picture and then the appraisal, you know, or information about the table will come up. A lot of it was AI. But some of it wasn't. You know, they were showing auction houses and different things with pictures. Every one of them said Chinese. None of them said Japanese. This would be Japanese if it was made in Japan. So that's where we're at with that. So let me show you. And when I looked at these women, I was like, they're not Chinese, they're Japanese. Okay, I hope y'all can see, because I got the phone. I'm putting it right in the face, okay? This is a Japanese woman. All of them. It's 5 in all, so I'm going to show you all of them. There's one right there. This one right here, that's definitely Japanese right there, because she got the thing in her hair and everything. And then we got the one right there. They're Japanese. Now, this building, it even looks Japanese, because, you know, Chinese buildings, they have more of the wings, you know. So this is Japanese. And look at how it's like a 3D type deal, but that is mother of pearl. I touched it, barely. I was scared to touch it. Scared I might break it with my heavy fingers. So that's how it looks. And yeah, the glass is looking bad. We still haven't done anything yet. Okay, let's get the camera set back up. Okay, so just wanted to show you that. So we know it's Japanese, so if anybody else want to research, pull it up. Pull up mother of pearl Japanese, and then the color. That's the thing. All the Chinese ones, every one I've seen are black. And I even pulled up hunter green to see if something would come up. Even under the Chinese ones, every last one of them are black. That's the whole big, I guess that's the most important part, excuse me, about the table. They are black. You know, that's the main, I guess that's the thing that distinguishes that particular table. I also found out that there are some reproductions of the table. They're not worth as much. Some of those are worth like between $5,000 and $2,000, but the reproductions were made in the 80s and 90s, I believe. Well, anything beyond the 50s, 60s, and 70s are considered reproductions of the table. I know that this was like in the 60s, and then the lady, I forgot your name, I think Miss Carol, I think that's your last name, I forgot your first name, sorry. But Debbie, I think you said that your husband was there during, let me know what year, because more than likely my late cousin's late husband probably served at the same time, in that same era, and at the, you know, so then that can help me to try to age the table at least. I don't know. But it's become a mystery, and so I'm enthralled in this. So I'm going to keep researching, and maybe something will eventually pop up regarding this table. I'll get it figured out. Okay, so that's it. I finally got around to opening up my Granny Square card deck, and I love this. In fact, there's a note in here. I don't have on the glasses, but I pretty much know what it says. It says that there's a different one, the floral one, coming out summer of 2025, and it is out because I've seen it online. So it comes with a little booklet, and then you have your cards, and they're nice thick cards, and then the card has information about the stitch, and if I'm not mistaken, okay, you got your diagram there. I believe it gives the pattern on the stitch, you know, how to make the square. So this is really nice. And I think for the price wasn't too bad. I think that this is a good investment. I may get the floral one, and then there's some other ones out there too. I know they have the knitting, and there's some other deck cards. So I might collect these, you know, just to have. It's better, almost better than a book, you know, or whatever. Especially for someone who's visual like me, who prefer, you know, looking at something to make it, you know, so that, I like that. I really do. And it's small and compact. You know, I can easily put these on my bookshelf because I have the books, remember, in that other room where my vintage books are. So there's still room. In fact, I have a full empty shelf in there, a shelf and a half in there. And so if I collect these, that's where they can go. And I can just put them in sideways like that to save even more space. Okay, now, here we go. I thought that I had 11 balls of the glow yarn from Joann. Actually, I had 8, but remember, I bought 3 balls at Michael's last week when I bought that Stitch Soak Scrub, because I said I would buy like 3 balls a month until I get, you know, as much as I wanted. So it's only 8 in here, but those 3 balls I can add, and that takes it up to 11. Or I can add it 12, 13, 14. I can add it to the ones I bought last night at Michael's on sale. I can add it to that, and altogether I have 20 balls. Let's put it that way. So now I'm sitting at 20 and a half, because remember, I bordered my patriotic shawl with this. I'm going to border the safety shawl with this, and I might, because it looks okay, I might border my cousin's Afghan with this, simply because it glows in the dark. So I might border her Afghan now that I have 20 balls. So here's the order from Michael's. So here's my 12. So I'm happy to have this. And then I have another 10 coming from Kobe. Thank you, Kobe, if you see this video. And remember, if you want any of those Joann bags, let me know. I will send you the number that you want, because I have enough of them, okay? I thought maybe 300 or whatever, but if you need more or even less, or, you know, whatever, just let me know what you need, and we can go from there. I know they're going to, you know, with the shipping, they go by weight. So I might have to kind of break it up to see, you know, depending on how much it costs. But those bags, I'm thinking if I do them like in sets of 10, that should be pretty good. And I'm going to put them like in an envelope. I'm not going to use a box because, oh, my boxes are very heavy. You know, but there's 2,000 in each box. So that would make it heavy. And they're folded perfectly. They're just beautiful. So I do not want to disturb those bags. So when I pack yours, you know, if we, you know, do the bags, then I want to leave them exactly how they are. I think they're like folded in half, or I can't remember. But I want to leave them just like they are because they are pristine. Okay, so yep, here is the yarn. Now let's get on to the topic, and then we'll be done. And I'm gonna put that yarn in my closet. Hold on, I'm bringing my walker back, y'all. I had it moved out the way. Hold on. Okay, we're going to the next part. I am back. Here is our project, you guys. If you want to join in on the CAL, the crochet along, bing, we are going to make watermelon bags, okay? Watermelon bags. A special request came in last night all the way from Brisbane, Australia. I think that's where she says she's from, Australia, you guys. So I could not turn her down. You ready for you a market bag? Because see, it's winter time in Australia now, but summer is coming up. So I'm quite sure you're going to want your market bag for your upcoming summer, which will be our upcoming winter. So that's what we're going to make. Now, this is the one that I use, and I've been using this for a few years now. I think I'm into year 3. This bag, although everybody says it looks nice, it's starting to look rough. You can see little nuts and chuds, and you know, and it's starting to get the little, you know, the fur balls and stuff. Because this yarn that I had, that I used for this bag, it was called Cattonia, Catinoa, Catonia. That yarn, they still make it, and it's fairly cheap. It's a cotton yarn, and it's a 3-weight sport. I doubled this for this bag, and they still make this yarn, but guess what? They no longer make the color, and the color was called watermelon. And when I say it's perfect, okay? So what I'm going to do this winter, I'm going to frog this bag, and I'm going to remake it. Usually when you start getting the little fur balls and things like that, I mean, you can probably try to cut them off or wash the bag or something. What I want to do is just frog it, and then I will rework the bag, and it'll look like new again. So when I get ready to start using it next summer, and I'm gonna line it, I think that's half the battle, because this bag is not lined. So once I rework it and re-crochet it, then I will line it, and then that way it won't start looking bad. But after 3 years, I think it's held up well. Okay, so for the new market bag, because I said I wanted to make a new watermelon market bag, and this one is probably going to be smaller, although I can get it that size. Because they no longer make the watermelon colored yarn, I'm trying to decide if I want my meat, which is the watermelon meat, to be red, or do I want the watermelon meat to be pink? Pink would do. You know, people will still know it's a watermelon, but the red, I think, will set it off. And since it'll be what I consider a quirky Q bag, this will be the quirk. Then I even thought about yellow. And there are yellow meat watermelons out there. So I thought about, you know, making it the meat yellow. But I think I'm going to go with the red. I don't know. I'll see how I feel, how the spirit moves as I'm working on it. And then I'll decide what color I want for the meat. Okay? And so I only have, and usually I like for my bottom and my top to be the darker color. That's what I like. And then I like to run that, before I run the white, I like to run the lighter green color. Well, I only have this. This is enough to make the bottom, but it may not be enough to make the bottom and the strap. So I'm trying to decide if I want to do that, or if I want to go with this apple green by Big Twist for the bottom and the top. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I have two or three of these. So it's enough for me to do that. So I think I'm going to go with this color, and I'm going to just, and then I can use the darker one for my border. You know, when I go around, when I'm done with the bag itself, then I can go around with this darker green and then a row of the white. And for this bag too, because the white is the rind part, I may or may not do the white at the bottom, and I know I'm gonna do the white at the top, but I'm not sure about the bottom. We'll see. I think I want to go, well, I'm gonna need at least one row of white. But anyway, so I'm sitting up here talking about what I'm gonna do. Let's talk about what we all will be doing together. Okay, so I'm gonna let you know, you're gonna need, for a watermelon bag, you're gonna need either red or pink, or whatever's closest to a watermelon, whatever color you want the main part of your bag to be. For the watermelon meat, you're gonna need that color. I'm gonna just say, I'm gonna use red. You might decide to use pink. You might go with yellow. I don't know. But for the bottom and your straps, you're gonna need some sort of green. So I would suggest either a hunter green, or as close as you can get, any type of green, and preferably cotton. Now, you can go with some acrylic if you want to. The bag is not going to come out. I'm telling you, you don't want acrylic for a market bag. You want cotton. Cotton. Just like for dishcloths, and you know, it's some things you just need the cotton for. So make sure you get some cotton yarn. Okay, so you're going to get some shade of green, preferably the darker, but if you can't find it, you know, I mean, we have this Big Twist here, but Michaels actually have different shades of green that you can order right online. And they actually have a pine green, but you have to order it for them to ship. So I have to find out what the shipping cost is, and I am going to order some, just not right away. But I am going to order some to have for the future. You're going to need some white cotton, of course, and that's it. You need either red and pink, white, and your green. And so when we make this bag, we're going to start with the base. I'm going to explain the bag to you, but you know, I'll do like a tutorial to show you what I'm doing. So basically, you're going to make your round base, and then you're going to go to your color for the meat. Well, after your white, you know, because you're going to go with, I'm not going to go dark green, light green. I'm just going to go with just green and white. So because the dark isn't going to be my base this time, is going to be the apple green. So from the green, I'm going to go straight to the white a couple of rows, and then to the red for my meat. And then when I end it, you've got the white again, and then I'll go back with the apple green, and then I'm going to use the darker green at the top for my what you call it, the trim, and then this apple green will be used for the strap. So basically, it's going to be easy to do, because we're just going to, once we make our bottom of the bag, I don't know, you guys tell me, do you want a bag this size? For those of you who might want to join in, do you want a bag this size? Do you want it smaller? If you want it smaller, you'll just know once your bottom gets to the size that you want, you stop. If you want it the size of mine, then I'll take you all the way through and let you know when to stop increasing. And then all you do after that is just go around and around and around and around until you get to the length, or the height rather, a bag that we stop at, and then I'll let you know how many rows. The other thing you're going to need is either some black yarn or some black beads. I'm probably going to go with the beads this time. It's so much easier, but you're going to need your black for the seeds. I forgot to mention that. Okay, you guys, so that's it. So order your yarn or go out and buy it now, because I think I'm going to set a date for this. We're going to start it, I'm thinking July. We can make this, my birthday is in July the 14th. I was thinking maybe we could set a date to start the watermelon. Unless you guys want one sooner, we can do it this weekend. I don't have anything on the agenda, so let me know if you want to do it this weekend. I'm just trying to give you guys time to get the yarn. Somebody pick a date. We can do it in the month of June, maybe a week from Saturday or something like that. Then that way it gives everybody time to get the yarn, or if you have it in your stash already, because we're only going to do the tutorial one time, because y'all know I don't like doing tutorials, but for this, I'm going to do it. So get your yarn. You know what colors you need. It can be any variation. All I ask is that you get cotton, okay? Now you can use, if you want to use acrylic, it'll look good for until you use the bag, and then it's gonna start just getting jacked, okay? You want your cotton. You know, if you want a bag that's gonna last you forever. And then this bag, like I said, I'm gonna line this bag, and then I'm also going to, once I rework this winter, I'm gonna line this bag. So get you some material too if you want to line the bag. If not, then, you know, you can always refer back to that tutorial that I did the other day. But it would work exactly the same as it did for the square bag. Although the bag is round, it's no different. It's going to work the exact same way. In fact, it may be a little bit easier. You're still going to just do exactly, sew up the sides. You're just going to make it a little wider to make sure that it fits the whole, you know, circular part of the bag. And then when you get to the top, you're going to go around, and that's it. You know, then your lining is in there. Okay, you guys, I feel as if I've rambled and all over the place, but I hope you guys understood that. That's why I don't like doing tutorials, because I'm just all over the place, okay? But this is it, so I will talk to you guys on the next one. How many minutes are we at? Here we go again, the glasses. 24, dang. Okay, this was too long. Okay, so I will talk to you guys later, and may God bless you all, and get ready for the CAL or the crochet along for the watermelon bag. And if this goes well, then, you know, we might can do one for the trashy shawl or whatever. You know, that's something we can plan for the winter, you know, when we're all inside looking crazy and crocheting and whatnot. So, alrighty. So let me get off of here, and I will talk to you guys later, and may God bless you all. The glow for the glow yarn. That's what I'm talking about. Here it is. Yay! Okay, bye-bye.